My name is Rachel. Today, I live in Houston, Texas, but my roots trace back to Mexico where my parents still reside. To tell you this story, I have to take you back to 1996. I was a young nurse, barely 3 months into my dream job at the Mary Anthony Hospital in Houston. Most of my shifts were spent in the maternity ward. It was a place of new beginnings, usually filled with the cries of newborns, but that night was different. I was on the night shift. Around midnight, the intercom crackled. It was my friend Marlo. "Hey, Rachel, come down to the ground floor. Let's have dinner together." I worked on the third floor. There were two other nurses on duty with me, so I told them I'd be stepping out for a quick bite. I stepped into the corridor. The silence hit me first. Mary Anthony was an old building. Half its floors were empty and decaying. Only the first and third floors housed patients. The second floor, it was sealed off for renovation. The hospital staff said that the maternity ward was previously on the second floor, but an accident occurred there, so it has now been shifted to the third floor, where renovation work is currently in progress. I stepped into the elevator and pressed G for the ground floor. The door slid shut. The lift hummed as it began its descent, but then thud. It jolted to a stop. I looked at the panel. The number 2 was glowing red. Did I press that by mistake? I whispered to myself. The doors creaked open. Beyond them lay the second floor corridor. It was a graveyard of shadows. Dim, flickering lights barely touched the peeling wallpaper. A cold shiver crawled up my spine. I frantically hit the G button again. The doors closed and I felt the lift move. Ding. The doors opened again. My heart stopped. I was looking at the exact same dark corridor. I looked at the panel. The number 2 was glowing again, like a taunting eye. I hammered the ground floor button, but it was dead. Frozen. Then I being dragged across the floor. My blood turned to ice. Who could be here at this hour? Construction workers? Who is there? I called out. My voice sounded small and brittle in the void. No answer, only that dragging sound. Curiosity is a dangerous thing. I thought maybe someone was hurt, someone needed me. I stepped out of the lift. The air didn't just feel cold, it felt like stepping into a freezer. My breath misted in front of my face. The sound was coming from the center ward. A faint, sickly yellow light spilled out into the hallway. I pushed the door open. The dragging stopped instantly. The room was filled with 6 old hospital gurneys, 3 on the left, 3 on the right. On the very last gurney, a figure was lying under a thin sheet. A patient? Here. I walked closer, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. It was a woman. She was pregnant. But her skin, it wasn't just pale. It was translucent. White as marble, as if every drop of blood had been drained from her veins. Dark, hollow circles bruised the skin under her eyes. Then the sheet shifted. I looked down at her legs and a scream tore through my throat. One leg was missing, chopped off at the thigh. The other, there was no flesh, just a raw red bone glistening with fresh blood. My scream echoed through the hollow ward. Suddenly her eyes snapped open. They weren't human. They were the color of a fresh wound. Deep, angry, crimson. She stared at me with a primal rage and bolted upright. I turned and bolted for the exit, but before I could reach it, bang! The heavy door slammed shut on its own. I pulled at the handle, but it wouldn't budge. My lungs tightened. The room began to spin. As I turned back to face the thing on the bed, I realized I wasn't going to make it out alive. What happens next to Rachel? Does she escape the clutches of the second floor horror? Or does she become part of the hospital's dark history? To find out, the next part will be posted very soon. If you want the next part, just type yes in the comments.